now, everybody.
Booming from Linwood, this is WRLYLP Raleigh.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Simon Marks. Veteran Sri Lankan politician Ranil Wickremesinghe has been sworn in as the country's new Prime Minister. Flags have been lowered at the White House in Washington after the US recorded its 1 millionth COVID death. 2 top Twitter executives have been ousted as the company braces for Elon Musk's takeover. And a multinational effort in space has yielded the first ever images of the black hole at the center of our galaxy.
Brought to you by Triangle Access Broadcasting, here's a look at the weather in the Oak 93.5 listening area. Cloudy skies tonight with a chance of scattered showers. Patchy fog is possible, low around 62. Mostly cloudy on Friday with rain and thunderstorms. Morning patchy fog is possible. Rain will be heavy at times in the afternoon, high around 76. Mostly cloudy Friday night with showers and scattered thunderstorms, low around 63. Becoming partly cloudy and humid on Saturday with showers and thunderstorms, high around 81. And the outlook for Saturday night, partly cloudy skies with a chance of isolated evening showers and thunderstorms, low around 63. Keep it here on Oak 93.5. I'm nowcast meteorologist Jim Vaughn.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned into Chat City with P. Ross. Conversations and interviews are in the queue. Listen or join in. Here she is, P. Ross.
Hello, it is I, P. Ross. Welcome to Chat City. I'm excited to have in the studio with me today the Sax Doctor.
Hey, how you doing?
And Lenisha.
Hey, how are y'all?
Singer-songwriter. How are you two doing today?
Doing good, doing well.
All right, yes. I just got to give you an applause from the house. Glad you're in here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
For sure.
Yes. Now, before I go any further, I have to make a correction for a song that I misquoted from the great Michael Jackson on our last show. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into the details of why I misquoted it, but I just got to fix it today.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay. So what I was supposed to say was this: if you can't feed your baby, then don't have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And don't think maybe if you can't feed your baby.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to just let you think about that and let that marinate at your own time, okay? Go back and find a copy of our last show, and then you'll get why I felt a need to fix that today. Now, so Mother's Day was last weekend. Lenisha, how was your Mother's Day?
It was great. It was really good. We had brunch with my family and got surprised with some gifts. But mostly we do like brunch for my mom. So we cooked it for her. Then my siblings surprised me. So I was like all teary-eyed. I'm a waterhead. So
Oh, nice.
But it was really nice. It was really good.
Nice. Yeah. Now, and how old is you're a mother of one? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How old
Skylar is my daughter. She just turned 4 a couple weeks ago. Yes, ma'am.
My God.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, okay. All right, 4 years old. And Zach, how was your mom?
She's doing good. Unfortunately, I had to work. But I made sure she knew that I wanted to her Happy Mother's Day and that I love her and everything. So she's doing good though.
Okay, just to let the audience know, I do know Zach and or the Sax Doctor and Lenisha personally. So I know a little bit about their backgrounds and everything like that. And I know Zach's mother, and she's a wonderful woman. I tell you that.
Sweetheart.
Yes, she is.
My mama.
Shout out to mama. All right. Now, I met these two a while back, as I mentioned earlier. I know them, but I want to get into how we got connected into the music field or in the entertainment field. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to probably around 2018 when I was starting out as a promoter, and that was the very first show I was hosting at an event, and I wanted to make a good impression on the venue's owner. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I needed a band.
Right.
I don't remember the details on how I came across you all. Do you remember how we come across that situation?
Honestly don't even remember.
Yeah,
you don't remember?
either. I mean, I remember getting the band together, but like, I think let's see, 2018. Gosh,
I know
okay.
that's been a while back. But while you're
yeah,
thinking on it, I'm gonna go ahead and say you guys did something very impressive to me that day. You had just lost a friend, a very good friend, and you didn't leave me hanging on the very first night at this venue. What you decided to do was to call me and say, hey, we had this unexpected situation, but we're going to be there for you anyway. Yeah. And I just want to, I mean, I know that was years ago, but I just want to take this time to say thank you for your willingness to just do that during a tragic time for you all. Right. So,
appreciate it. Thank you.
So. Now let's talk about this band you had back then. And then what was the name of the band? I don't remember. I'm sorry.
It was Melodic Flow.
Melodic
Flow. PHLOW.
Okay, is Melodic Flow still together now?
We're not really together, but we still have like times where we all play together.
For sure.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where you just kind of like the name may be gone, but the band still stays together because we just have that connection with everybody. So like anytime we need a drummer or a keyboard player, just be like, hey man, I need you, and they just be like, let me know when, and I got you. So it's definitely a musician's love around like the Moore County musicians that we always hang with and stuff. So
okay, and now tell me how Melodic Flow got together.
Oh my God!
I think it started from Sandhills when we had the gospel choir at Sandhills. So we had started a gospel choir.
Mm-hmm. Now we're talking Sandhills Community College.
Community College.
Okay, and that is in Southern Pines, North Carolina. All right, so
and it kind of just branched off from there. We just kind of like stuck with the band because we was always playing together and practicing together, and that's pretty much how it started.
Okay,
but it's been like we've all known each other for
years though.
Years.
Yeah, like 10, 15
plus years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Lenisha, you were the manager. You was the manager for the band, right? Okay. How did you get chosen to be manager, or did you just step up to the plate and say, "I'm manager of this band"?
It was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I mean, because everybody was so used to being around each other. And it actually is funny because right before Melodic Flow was a band, we were already kind of playing together and around each other for a gospel group, Hearts of Worship. So that kind of first started off, and then Melodic Flow came maybe like a year or two after that. But it was a mix of both. I mean, I knew the guys were talented, and everybody's played everywhere. People rant and rave about them, talking about churches, different events and stuff like that. So it was a mix of both. I was like, okay, well, in order for y'all to like actually travel and do what you love and what you want to do, you got to need somebody to organize, keep the dates, stuff like that. So it was a mix of both, but I definitely stepped in for sure.
Okay, and you were the only female part of the.
Yes.
What was that like being the only female?
Not too bad. I know how to handle my own. I'm the oldest out of my siblings, I'm used to dealing with a lot of people.
The guys didn't give you any trouble at all. Okay,
if anything, we looked out for and made sure.
For sure.
Like,
okay,
we're like a big family, so we always stick together.
Absolutely.
I mean, we fuss like family, but at the end of the day, we know how to love like family, and that's kind of the biggest thing, and that's what keeps us all together now. So.
For sure.
That's awesome. Now I just happened to come across a little. Mentioning of what a relationship means. I'm going to read that out.
Okay.
A relationship means that you come together to make each other better, believe in each other, support each other, build each other, be their peace and not their problem. So that can work in anything.
It really could.
Band relationships, personal relationships, just anything,
Definitely.
So I thought that was appropriate to read at this particular time.
For sure.
All right. Now, for you that are just joining in, we thank you for listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross. And in the studio with me today, I have the Sax Doctor, Mr. Zach Harris, and singer-songwriter Lenisha.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes, and we're not just going. They brought instruments today, so stick around so you can hear these two on their instruments, okay? All right, so now moving forward, Lenisha.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been in the music field?
Oh, my Lord. Since I can remember.
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you when I first started singing, but taking it seriously, I made that decision like in my teens, maybe. Of course, most people know me for my religious background, and so that's what I predominantly do as far as singing currently. However, I do believe in being an artist and an independent artist, and so I won't be just in church functions. I plan on doing a whole lot more in a whole bunch of different genres. But yeah, I definitely took it seriously more so in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, so right before high school. Maybe I might have been like 11, 12, something around that nature.
Okay.
But I've been singing in church ever since then. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any formal training? Have you decided to go to school?
So while I did go to, I attended Sand Hills Community College, and so at that time, not long before meeting Zach and like all of our friends and stuff like that, I was actually classically trained there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and let's talk about some of the songs you have written.
Okay.
Tell us a little about your, your work there.
Man, when I talk about songwriting, it's funny. I was just explaining to him earlier. I feel like it's just a byproduct of my love to write, just period. I mean, from poetry to, oddly enough, writing up resumes or writing for articles. You know, I just love to write, period. And so I honestly like have written songs again for as long as I can remember. Everybody has their story, and I feel like music really carried me through life, and it was a really big outlet for me to express myself. And so any chance that I got to write, whether it was about, you know, maybe a breakup or, you know, something good happened today or, you know, whatever, I wrote about it. And if I can make a song out of it, I made a song out of it. So
I wrote a song about it. I'd like to hear it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, do you prefer writing music versus singing music or playing music?
They definitely all go hand in hand, but I definitely prefer writing it because I can write for somebody else. Maybe, you know, the song is not something that's me, but I'm like, okay, well, I know somebody can sing it, so it's really cool to write for other people or even just collab on ideas, whether it is musically or lyrically on paper. So I would say I prefer writing more so.
Prefer writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have written for others, like you said. Tell us about, I think recently you've mentioned on social media that some of your work has gained a little highlight or a little recognition somewhere.
So recently with social media, it actually wasn't songwriting. Oddly enough, like I said, just writing, period, I love to do. And so I actually started writing for, and this is a shameless plug and shout out to Onyx Urban Media, also based out of Raleigh. Internet magazine that I've written for actually a year now. And so what I do is I interview different Christian featured artists, like independent Christian artists, and then the article comes from the interview, and that's pretty much it. So I got nominated for the Onyx Urban Media Awards that they're having this year.
Okay, that's what I heard.
So that's where that came from. Now, prior to that, I did actually write a song for Pastor Todd Curry's album a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And so that was featured in the CD compilation that we put out at that time. So, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. We're going to give you a house applause on that. All right. All right, Zach, the Sax Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
The Sax Doctor. Tell us about your musical background, Sax Doctor.
Pretty much I grew up in music. My dad went to A&T. He played trumpet. My mom sung. My brother plays the keyboard. My sister plays the bass. All my other brothers and sisters either play drums, sing, or, you know, some have some musical talent. I played trumpet. Well, I started playing drums first. I was watching my brother play, and my dad was playing keyboard at the time when we was in church. And so my dad would get up to go preach, and my brother would move to the keyboard, and I would move to the drums. And it just kind of like kept on going up. So eventually he started playing keyboard. I was playing drums. And then middle school came along, and I was just like, you know, I want to be like my dad playing, because my dad played with Dizzy Gillespie and Clark Terry.
Okay.
So that's kind of like one of my things I like to brag about my dad.
Wait a minute. Your dad played with who?
Dizzy Gillespie and Clark Terry.
Let's give Dad Okay, so wait a minute. As you see, I'm learning the board here, and I like this key over here, so forgive me if I go a little overboard with it, okay? All right, so go ahead.
But, so I was just always like, I want to be like my dad, play trumpet, play with the big boys. And so I played trumpet. I was first chair all through middle school just because, like, he helped me, so I always had a leg up before the other kids. And they was always like, how'd you get so good? And I told them, like, my dad was this trumpet player, not really famous, but he played a lot. And so, like, jazz has always been kind of like our thing. And then I was going to play in high school, but they took me out of band to put me in football workouts. So I stopped playing trumpet because I ended up getting braces, too, so that kind of, like, messed up everything. So I never played all through middle school. It was just kind of drums. And then got to Sand Hills. And that's actually when I met Lenisha and all them.
Okay.
And it was just one day we had started the gospel choir, and I was playing drums. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I want to buy a saxophone. And she could tell you it was so random. It was just like a saxophone. Yeah. And I was just like, it's something different. I said, you have so many keyboard players and drummers and guitar players and singers. I said, I want to do something that's different. And so I saved up my money, and I bought one off of Amazon. I didn't even know what kind it was. It was just some black and gold saxophone I thought looked cool.
Yeah,
and I was like, I finally got it. And I was like, I'm gonna call her Midnight. And so I got it, and I started playing in like 3 weeks. And I posted up a video, and everybody was just like, ain't no way you're learning this fast. And you just got it, and you just, because trumpet and saxophone, they're very two different things. Like trumpet, you have like 3 keys that you can press. Saxophone, you have like 16 plus. So it's definitely a lot, and it was definitely a challenge to kind of like overcome switching from one to another. And I've been doing that for going on 7 years now, and it's done me really well.
Gosh,
okay, so tell me how when you rehearse, do you set a certain time frame for you to rehearse? Like, do you say, okay, I'm gonna practice for 30 minutes today, or I'm gonna practice an hour a day? How do you?
So when I first started, I actually just played until my dad was like, all right, you got to go to bed now. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was just like so happy about it. I was like, something new. I was like, I'm putting my heart into it. And after a year, I was just like, man, this is really going good. And I think that's when I started playing at Down Memory Lane the couple of times I did. And so I just kept on practicing, trying to build my craft and get my technique right and everything. And then I was like, maybe I can do something more, because I enjoy playing for other people, new faces. So I started going to downtown Southern Pines across from the train station, and I'll sit out there and I'll literally just play for hours and hours, and people come by and like they'll drop a couple dollars here and there.
I was gonna ask you, did you put your tip jar out there?
I did, and I enjoyed it because, like I said, it was new faces, and it was one lady, she was walking past and she was like, wow, you're really good. She's like, well, we do an open mic at one of the lounges in downtown Southern Pines called Neville's. Shout out to Neville's.
Oh, okay, Neville's. All right.
So she was like, we're doing an open mic here. Like, you should bring your saxophone, come by. And I was just like, okay. So so I did that, and I kind of got to the point now, like, when a lot of people think of saxophone, they think of jazz. And I didn't want it to be just associated with that. So I started learning, like, of course, like funk songs, pop, R&B. But my big thing that really kind of got me out there was country songs.
Okay.
And a lot of people come, like, I'll play a country song, and they're just like, I've never heard a country song on the saxophone. Like, I've heard it with the country song, but never like a whole country song played out on the saxophone. And so a lot of people enjoyed that. So like, I played that night, and a lot of people started recording it, and they put it on Facebook, and then it just kind of blew up. Like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, we've never heard this. Like, he's so good. And then they just kept like, come back. And then I was doing that, go back to the streets. And then once COVID hit, I kind of started traveling. That was kind of when like the restaurants were having people eat outside, kind of like keep everything clean. And I went to the beach one day, and I was coming back through Wilmington. I was like, I ain't been to Wilmington, as an adult yet. I'm gonna ride around, kind of sightseeing everything. And I went out there, and there was just like so many people in the streets just eating and everything. And I was just like, I got my saxophone in the trunk. This would be a perfect opportunity. So I did. And at the time, it was just my saxophone, and I had my headphones. And so I set up in front of this music shop that was down there that was closed. Put my headphones in, started playing music. Put my shades on, closed my eyes, which is my own zone.
Okay.
And
now, were you nervous when you decided to do that when you stepped out on faith? And
I kind of worked out the nerves being that I was playing in Southern Pine so much. So like playing in front of because I mean there's always new people coming in and out. So I was like, once I get these nerves down, then I can relax. Because I mean it was a time like when I go play for people, I was so nervous. I'd be shaking in my saxophone. You can hear me shaking. I'll forget the song. So like the music is one song and I'm playing a whole totally different song. And I'm just like. But I was like trying to make it sound good. So,
We've all done that.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it was embarrassing. I'm just like, I got to get better. So like, I literally would like learn new songs. I would listen to a song and I would probably listen to it about 1,000 times and just slowly like pick at it until I learned how to play it. And then when I was going out to the streets, that's kind of like, I was like, I'm comfortable playing this song. I know I can work around with, play with it and even to make it sound really good. And that first time going to Wilmington in my own zone, I think I played for like 3-4 hours, and I looked at my case, and there was so much money in my case. I was like,
wow.
Whoa! I was like, I probably need to keep my eyes open.
You don't have to tell us the exact amount, but give us an idea of how much money you had in that case. I'm ready to hit my hot button key over here, okay? And my hot applause, house applause.
It was over 600.
Yeah.
So, I was surprised.
Okay.
That was the most money I've ever made playing my saxophone on the street, and I was just like, wow.
And how long were you out there when you?
Probably about 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours, $600. That's not bad.
Not
Lenisha,
bad.
you better try that, girl.
I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's fun because like, I mean, you have like people that'll come up and they'll literally like dance like husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. They'll literally dance to some of the songs I play. I'll play something that's kind of like upbeat, and you have people in the street dancing with their kids. Little kids will come by, and I'll switch over and play Baby Shark or something where they like kind of dancing and everything. So I always try to like make it fun for everybody, and then like I have so much like positive feedback where they'll come up and like, man, like you made our dinner so much better just from the music you're playing.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed that. So.
That's really nice. That's really nice. For those of you that are just listening in, I would like to let you know that you are listening to Chat City with P. Ross on Oak 93.5 FM Raleigh. All right. In the studio we have today singer-songwriter Lenisha
Hey.
and the Sax X-A-X player, the Sax Doctor. Zach.
I always have to make that known because
we got.
I'm the Sax Doctor. Please don't get it confused. The Sax Doctor are very two different things.
The Sax Doctor, Mr. Zach Harris. It's a pleasure to have you two here with me today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, now, as I mentioned earlier, they do have their instruments today, and we're gonna get a treat by listening to them play. Before we get into that, I just have a few more questions for them. Zach, you were... Okay, let me go back. There is a highly recognized band called the Sand Band. They are known throughout North Carolina and beyond.
Yes.
Tell us how you got the opportunity to play with the Sand Band.
Shout out to the Sand Band for one. Thank you for having me come and play with y'all. It was awesome. So actually, one of the lead guitar players, his son actually works for Neville's.
Okay.
And that was one of the places I was always playing at. And they told me their saxophone player had a surgery and he wasn't able to get around. So he was like taking a break until he recovered. And they was like, he needs a saxophone player. Would you be interested? And he was like, if you are, I'll give you, I'll give him your number. He can call you. I can talk it out. So I was like, yeah, sure. And I had typed them in on Facebook, and I seen like so many people was following them. Like I seen they had videos of the shows that they were putting on. I was just like, I think I'd enjoy that because like beach music, country, slow jam. So it was kind of like my vibe. And so they was like, we don't rehearse. We'll give you a song list, and just pretty much if you can catch us, then roll with this. And so I got there the first day. I was like, I'm down to play. Got there, set up and everything. Met the band, really awesome guys, and we started playing. And they was like kind of looking at me, and I was just like, why are they looking at me? Like, am I in trouble? And one of them was like, you want to solo? And I was like, sure, why not? And I soloed, and they all turned around like, what in the world? Like, and then they was asking me like, how long you been playing? I was like, 7 years. Like, you go to school for it? And I was like, nope, I learned off YouTube. And they was like, ain't no way. And I was like, yeah, literally bought a saxophone, and I watched hours and hours of YouTube, learning how to play, listen to songs, and they was like, that's amazing.
So have they invited you to come back and play?
I'm kind of like, so that their saxophone player actually came back. So he's been playing with them. So I'm pretty much as like, if they need me at any moment, I told them don't hesitate to hit me up, and that I'll be more than happy to come and play with them because, like I said, they're a really fun time, and it was fun to play with them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, Lenisha, yes, we've mentioned you being a singer-songwriter, but you also tinker with instruments as well. Yes, and tinker may be an understatement. Okay. At this time, we would like for you to grab your guitar and give us a little sample of what you do on guitar.
Y'all in for a treat.
And I would like to also invite our listeners to give us a call if you would like to join in on this chat today. You can reach us at 919-899-9305. We would love to have you as a guest. Lenisha, your microphone.
Oh, yeah, sure thing.
Okay, so we have Lenisha. Tell us what song you're gonna play. If it doesn't have a name, we'll just listen.
Yeah, this one doesn't have a name. Honestly, it's kind of a little medley I've been playing for like ever, actually. So I probably should write something to it.
Okay, well, have at it.
Yeah, here we go. Cool. Here we go.
All right, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I like it.
I like that.
Thank you.
We're gonna give that. Let's give that a name right now.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Oh man.
Melodic flow.
Melodic flow. That's a good one. Consider that. Okay, Lenisha, who are some of the people that have inspired you as far as artistry is concerned?
Oh my gosh, I have such a long list. I'm gonna be honest. But if I can narrow it down to some, I know that for a fact, India Ari made a big impression on my life.
Okay.
I think she came out in like the early 2000s. So I was in middle school, going through puberty, emotions, different things. But I love that even throughout, to present day, she's always been the same. And she's really big on honoring her gift, her artistry. So her, of course, some classics, Prince, definitely, Michael Jackson, Layla Hathaway, Leontine Price, which is actually a black opera singer.
Leontine Price?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
yes,
surprised.
Ma'am.
Leontine, you know anything about
ma'am.
Leontine Price? Okay,
Yes,
that's good,
ma'am.
because I came prepared for something a little later on the show. I'm not going to tell you now, but I'm going to test you. Yeah.
And of course, that's due to being classically trained at Sandhills.
Okay.
I did have to sing Italian pieces, German pieces, and listen to different things. So definitely that.
Give us some German. Can you give us some German right
my
now?
Lord.
On the spot?
I remember when she was saying that. It's been so long.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. As a classically trained or partially classically trained, whatever you want to. German is the worst language for me to sing.
Okay, all right.
I can't think of
that's
any
okay.
off
I'm
the top.
sorry. I just want to.
No, you're good. But of course, I have my gospel influences too. Oh my gosh, so many. Mary was pivotal. Came out around the same time, middle schoolish. Of course, Kurt Franklin, Donald Lawrence. Aretha Franklin was a mix of both, secular and church. Oh my gosh, there's so many. But my overall musical taste is very. I listen to jazz. I listen to country. Sometimes I listen to soft rock. I listen to all kinds of stuff. So and that's due to, similar to him, like my family was music too. My mom's side of the family sang. My dad's side of the family mostly sang, but he of course plays guitar and sings and produces and stuff. So, but yeah, plenty of influences, but big ones definitely. I would say, for sure, India.Arie, Layla Hathaway, and Prince.
Okay.
My top three.
All right.
Sure.
Awesome. And for you, Zach, I know you mentioned your dad and your family had a big influence. Are there any others that?
Yeah, like I said, my family's they've been my biggest influence. They always push me to do better. One of my favorite saxophone players, Kirk Whalum. He's pretty much been one of my biggest influences. I was listening to him probably about the whole way here.
Yeah.
And I actually got a chance to meet him in Durham.
Oh.
And he was doing a Christmas concert, and they was inside warming up, and I was kind of like sitting outside just listening. And one of the ladies that worked there, she was like, "Do you know who's playing tonight?" And I was like, "Kurt Whalum." And she's like, "You know him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been pretty much following him my whole life." And she's like, "You ever met him?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, maybe you might get to." And I was like, "Yeah, hopefully." And so she like walked off, and I'm still listening. Like 10 minutes later, she was like, "Come here." And I was like, "Okay." So we're like, she takes me inside, walking down the aisle. And she's like, "Where's Kirk at?" And there's like, "He's in the back right here." She's like, "Can you bring him out?" And he comes out, and I'm like,
"Oh my god!"
I'm shaking. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And so I was like, "How you doing, Mr. Whalum?" I'm like, big fan. Watch all your gospels according to jazzes, all your love old school songs. And he was like, "No, I appreciate it. It really means a lot." So he's like, "You got a few minutes to hang?" And I was like, "Of course." So we went backstage,
is so cool.
And he grabbed his saxophone. He was like warming up and everything, and I was just looking at him and I was so mesmerized. And he was asking me how I got started and what I do for a living. I was like, "I'm a firefighter, but I try to do music on the side." He was like, "Man, that's really two big different careers, but that's really great that you're doing that." And so he was like giving me pointers and everything, like stuff I should like practice on. And I was so like mind blown by meeting him after like watching so many videos. I didn't remember one thing he said. So I was like, "Why didn't I record that?" And so like before, and I was like, "You mind if we take a picture together?" And I was like, he's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, man." He's just an all around down to earth, cool person. And so he's pretty much been one of my biggest influences. And of course, you have like your John Coltrane's, your Gerald Albright, Dave Koz, all these different saxophone players, and I pretty much listen to all of them because I want to try to develop my own sound. And I've got to the point where I kind of have, but it's still something I want to like constantly keep working on. That way I'm not sounding like every other saxophone player. So I'm trying to develop my own sound, it's been going good. I like to, I play a song, put kind of like my own twist to it. So it's been going good.
Okay, awesome.
That's cool.
Now, you mentioned Leontine Price earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned John Coltrane. I do believe Leontine Price and John Coltrane are originally from North Carolina.
Yeah.
You might have to check
John Coltrane.
I know about John.
But
Coltrane.
I believe somebody might need to fact
What?
check it.
Yeah.
But and if I'm wrong, we'll correct it on the next show next week. But I do believe Leontine Price is originally from North Carolina.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I believe. I think.
Okay, I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Now, Zach, you mentioned something about another career. I was going to bring that up later on in the show, but you've already let the cat out the bag.
Yeah.
All right. So some time ago, you and I used to work in the same hospital.
Yes.
In different departments.
I think that's how we actually got. We met. And got down memory lane.
Down memory lane, which is a venue in Aberdeen, North Carolina. But I'm reading the paper, the local paper, and then I see that Zach, the sax player, is now a firefighter. And I was like, wait a minute. He was just working here at the hospital. Tell us how you come into this career.
So I was working at the hospital, did that for about a year and a half. And I've always wanted to be a firefighter. Probably shouldn't say it on live. I got in trouble for setting a lot of stuff on fire when I was younger. Because, I mean, it was just one of those things that is like, it's calming. Like, you know, a lot of people have like bonfires and they just kind of sit out and watch the fire.
Yes.
And that was kind of like my thing. Look, I mean, my thing, it wasn't bonfires. It was just like a pile of leaves. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to burn it on, you know, set it on fire. Or something. I was always getting in trouble to the point like my mom would call me Dennis the Menace because she was like, where's Zach at?
No.
You know? So I was like, and, so like when I was working at the hospital, I kept seeing fire trucks and fire trucks and fire trucks. Wow. I was like, man, I really want to do that. And so I talked to some friends of mine, and they was like, man, you need to come by. You can volunteer, and you still be able to work at the hospital. So I was like, okay. So I finally got on there. I was still working at the hospital, and I was so happy about being on the fire department. And I would be at work, and I would leave work to go. I was working at Crestline Fire Department at the time, which is on 211 going towards
Rayford, North Carolina.
Shout out.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll literally leave the hospital in Pinehurst to go all the way to the station just to, like, because they would get a call, and I literally haul tail to the station, not knowing I wasn't going to go, but I just wanted that rush of, like, yeah, I'm a firefighter now. And I'm surprised I never got in trouble for it. But once I joined, I was planning on joining the fire academy through Sand Hills Community College. And so I ended up leaving the hospital because I was like, it was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I knew it was going to take a lot of my time from the hospital. So I was like, 6 months, I said I have to tough it out. So I left there, got a job at Papa John's. So I was doing that for the 6 months that I was through the fire academy. And I got everything that I needed to do to become a firefighter. And then soon as I graduated, probably like a week later, I was hired on the Aberdeen Fire Department full time.
Awesome.
And it's been almost 5 years now. So
wow, 5 years passed already? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am proud of you. Thank you for the service you have put in these last 5 years.
Yes,
firemen and policemen, ambulance. What's the word I'm trying to say? Paramedics. First responders. Yeah. What would we do without you guys? So thank you so very much for deciding to make that a part of your career, your life. Okay. All right. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Oak 93.5 Chat City, and your host P. Ross. That would be me. All right. In the studio with us today, we have Lenisha, singer-songwriter, musician, and the Sax Doctor, Mr. Zach Harris. If you have any questions or comments for these two, feel free to give us a call at 919-899-9305. All right, as promised, we are going to hear a little music by the Sax Doctor. His first selection today will be Georgia on My Mind.
Georgia on my mind. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Georgia on my mind. Wow. I have these two young people here, and they're like in their 30s, may I say? Is that correct? We don't have to tell our ages.
I feel like I'm over 30.
Not there yet.
Yeah,
not there yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but you're playing this music, Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles. Lenisha is a fan of Leontine Price. Okay, so they know some things, all right? You know, and if you're anything like me, when I was young, I was influenced by a lot of older music, too, that my parents used to listen to. Gladys Knight and the Pips and Diana Ross and the Supremes. I used to also that's how I learned a lot of music. I also enjoyed music off of commercials.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, for
good.
sure.
Yeah. So they kind of stuck. Some of those commercials from back in the 70s, I'm telling my age, they kind of stuck with me. But I wanted to test you two to see if you're familiar with any of these jingles that I have. Okay. And the way this works, I'm going to sing a little bit of a jingle. Okay. I want you to finish it if you can. Okay. And if you can't, then that's okay. All right. So the first one. My baloney has a first name.
It's O-S-C-A-R.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Oscar Mayer. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here's another one. I don't want to grow up. I'm a
Toys R Us kid.
Okay. Okay, let's see if you can get this one. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
All right. Okay, you are better than I thought. Okay. Let's see if you can get this one. The best part of waking up
is Folgers in your cup.
You two are acing it over here today. All right, I'm going to do one more. Okay. Let me see if I can get a hard one in here for you. I have 12 on the list, but we're not going to go through all 12 for the sake of time. Okay. They're magically delicious.
A cereal.
Oh my God, that's Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
Lucky Charms.
You got it right. Lucky Charms.
I said a
Wait a
cereal.
minute. Okay, yeah, so you guys know music very well. Have you ever thought about doing any jingles?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I was getting ready to say that plays into like the writing situation for me. So,
You should really look into that. I'm sure
I
you'll do
definitely
great.
will.
Yeah. How about you, Zach?
I haven't really thought about it. I just kind of been more like, I kind of have like a purpose behind my plan. And it's pretty much kind of like to help couples. So I've never really thought about like, little jingles and stuff. Like I said, it's just been kind of like a passion on mine because it kind of goes hand in hand with firefighting. Like I'm always trying to like save a life whether I know somebody. So I'd rather like, try to save a marriage,
Wow. That's cool.
Because like I said, like even with jingles, like music plays a big part in everyone's life, whether they realize it or not. And so I kind of got to the point where like I like to play a lot of love songs. To kind of like help people get back up and dance. Because I explain, anytime I play somewhere, I explain it. Like if you look at like Little House on the Prairie or like one of them old TV shows, you have like the kids will eat dinner when the dad's at work, and when he comes home, it's just mom and dad. They'll eat dinner, have a candlelit dinner. They get up and dance around. You don't see that really nowadays.
True.
So I'm kind of trying to get back to helping couples fall in love. So I'm always like constantly playing like love songs, something that they can get up and dance. And people come to me like, man, I ain't really danced with my wife in so long, and now it's like you kind of like spark something new. So I tell people like, you know what, like come here, have a good time, like fall in love again like it's the first time. I said, when you go home and do your own thing, that's on. This is kind of like a benefit from it, you know. And but I've always had so much good feedback, and like you're helping, like just through you playing a saxophone and playing a song that we remember from like us getting married or like our first dance, and like because like I said, like a lot of people I play for is like predominantly white, and so like I play a lot of country songs. I kind of play the way the crowd looks. So like a lot of the places that I go to, like in Pinehurst or Wilmington, it was like I was playing a lot of country music, like Journey, Bon Jovi, and so people like, oh my gosh, this on the saxophone, you know, still. And so it's got people up dancing, and it got to the point like, you know, I love like looking at my wife. It's like a whole brand new person now just from me playing a couple songs. So that's kind of been like my drive as far as like playing the saxophone. So like that's I said,
cool. Well, your name. Okay, so let's get to the title that you chose for yourself. The Sax Doctor. So that's kind of fitting now. I see the doctor end of it, because a doctor, when we think of doctors or physicians, they're into mending, fixing broken things. And so, okay, since you gave us
it took me a while to kind of like think of a name, because I was gonna go like the sax guy, because everybody was like, at first was like, hey, we like, what's up, sax guy? So I was like, yeah, sax guy's pretty nice. And then I started hearing Zach on sax, and actually a friend of mine named Mary, shout out to Mary, she actually gave me that name. So so that started hanging around for a little bit, and I was just like, well, me being a firefighter, you know, I fix bruises and splint legs and whatever the case may be, and I was like, and then I'm trying to like fix marriages, like fix the love within people. So I was like, play the saxophone, it's kind of like what a doctor does, so to speak. So I was like, put them together, you got Sax Doctor. So and so I came up with that name, and it stuck with me. So now every time I go out, I'm like, hey, you're the Sax Doctor, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. So it does me good. All
right, for those of you that are just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, and we are on Oak 93.5 WRLY Raleigh. I have in the building with me today singer-songwriter, musician, Lenisha, and the Sax Doctor, Mr. Zach Harris. We're going to ask Mr. Zach Harris, the Sax Doctor, to play us another tune on his saxophone. You are listening to it live.
Do that.
He is not, well, there's a track for an accompaniment, but this is actually him playing on sax.
Oh
Awesome. That sounded great.
Yes.
Sax Doctor. Thank you so much for that selection there.
welcome.
A change is going to come.
Yes, it is.
With the way the world is today, Lenisha, got a lot of chaos, calamities going on.
For sure.
What? Tell us in your own words, what would you like to see as far as a change in the world today?
Oh man. Oddly enough, it ties in definitely to what Zach was saying. I mean, you see that a lot of things that people did in older times, like they don't do it anymore. And so I think if we truly just understand that everybody is trying, I think we'll be able to be more empathetic to one another. I think we can be more loving to one another. And it's really cool how music works in the favor of artists to actually be able to evoke a feeling in someone, to give somebody hope, or maybe share in their despair. Sometimes people just need a good cry. You know, I think just ultimately, if people could just understand that everybody's trying and be more empathetic, I truly think that we can just see a change just by people just being, what's the word I'm looking for? More compassionate.
Okay.
For sure.
Compassion.
Definitely.
Yes. Now, Zach, you are known on social media, if anybody's friends with you, of placing a lot of jokes and a humorous side to yourself. Where does that come from?
Excuse me.
I try to live my life. You never know how much somebody needs to smile.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff that I post, like people send it to me, and there's like, we can see you posting this. So I'll wait a couple days and then I'll post it, and I get a lot of feedback. Sometimes people be like, "Oh, that's not funny," or you're gonna have that person regardless, no matter what. But I tell people all the time, like, you never know how much somebody needs a smile. Go out and smile at somebody else. You never know how much that person needs a smile. So and that's try to how I live my life. I mean, to the point, like I'll be in a drive-through, and I just see the person behind me like having a good time, smiling and everything, and that's what does me good. So I'll pay for the food and tell them like pay it on to the next one and just keep it going. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like I said, it does me good knowing that I can at least put a smile on somebody's face, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through music. Because like I said, like smiling and music, it makes the day go better. For everybody. Like I said, you never know what people deal with.
That's right.
Working all day, everything that's going on with all the wars and everything, like it's depressing. You got sicknesses going around. This is kind of the time, like, families kind of should be together, because you just never know what's going to happen in the world. But it's just one of those things, like everybody live their own lives and stuff. So I try to do what I can. Like, if doesn't nobody else do it, at least when I leave this earth, people can be like, Zach the Sax Doctor, Zach on sax, whatever they call me. Like, that is one dude that always made me smile when I felt at my lowest. And I've had people tell me that. I'm like, man, like, you don't know how much it meant for that joke you put on there, how much it made me smile or laugh or something like that. So that's what I'm here for. So
yeah, and you've certainly cracked me up with those jokes and stuff that you put on there. Sometimes I'll give you a little laughy face. I'm like, that boy is something else. Yes. Okay, so our time is kind of winding up right now. Okay. How would you feel if I put you two on the spot to collaborate right now and put a song together real quick?
Oh, man. Wow.
You think you can do it? I believe you can.
probably good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No tracks? Okay. Anything? Let's see what you can do.
We got this.
Okay. You got this. In the meantime, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross on Oak 93.5 FM. We're here weekly on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, P. Ross. If you'd like to speak to us at any time that we're on the air, feel free to give us a call and join in on our chat at area code 919-899-9305. We're going to end our show today with a little collaboration from singer-songwriter musician Lenisha and the Sax Doctor, Mr. Zach Harris. Here they go.
Ready? Yeah. All right. You start, I'm going to catch you.
Thank you so much. Real quick, how can we get in touch with you?
Go first.
Anywhere. I got a little bit. So Writing Wires, I'm actually starting my writing company. If you look up Lucid Crest Writing Co. on Facebook, and that covers any writing services, just hit up the page. Otherwise, my personal page is under Lenisha Phillips.
All right, and you, Zach.
You can find me at Zach Harris on Facebook, the Sax Doctor, SAX Doctor. You can go to my website, www.saxdoctor.org. I usually post all my live shows and where I'm going to be playing at up in the coming future, post my videos when I do stuff. Instagram.
All right.
_Sax Doctor. I'm pretty
all
sure
right.
it is, so.
We appreciate you listening to Chat City. Thank you, too, again for being my guest today.
Thank you for having us.
And we're looking forward to have you back again, okay?
Awesome.
Thank you. Have a great week, everyone. This is Chat City with P. Ross signing off.